Hey, what's good? Thanks for pressing play on another Bite Down Boxing video. This is brought to you by the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment channel. I'm getting in here before lunch today. I'm actually getting ready to head out. Um, we kind of just talking the talk at this point with Spence and Garcia. I guess the press conference might be today, the grand arrivals in the press conference. So, we'll have maybe it's some stuff that I could speak on later on tonight if I waited to this evening. Although I got to try to get a podcast together for this week, which I don't know if that's really gonna happen. Uh, Although I am interested in the Friday night fights over here in Philadelphia, I thought about trying to make my way out to that, but 8-hour drive. Actually, not gonna be any good anyway. I'm gonna be up in Detroit for the Pistons game with the Lakers. So anyway, today's talking point, I guess for me, one thing that I want to see is who shows up for the fight. I believe the Ocampo fight for Spence. The rest of the big time welterweights, you guys might have been there, incidentally, but I think the rest of the big time or the elite welterweights, I don't think any of them showed up, unless Bud might have been in town because he's in that region. But as far as Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, I felt like all of those guys stayed away, and it was almost like they did it maybe it was because Ocampo was the challenger, and it was no mystery, on who was going to win the fight. But I don't know. I guess for me, and the second question would be, if Spence puts away Garcia in convincing fashion, in an explosive manner, does he even have any work left at welterweight? Could this be his exit? Could this be the start of his exit from the division to go on up and campaign at super welterweight or something? Obviously, the guy needs to get to work and needs to have more work. I mean, he's in his prime and he's kind of wasting away without, with the PBC and the team being unable to keep him more active. So I guess that would be my question: is do any of these guys step up? I think Porter and his father, Team Porter, I think they mentioned something after the fight that they were entertaining the Spence thing, but I think that's I think that's fugazi, to be honest with you. I think anything they would do regarding Spence would be real tacit, frankly. But yeah, I just wonder if any of these guys show up without it being because they have some kind of television or not studio, but without them having like some role in the broadcast, So I don't foresee any of those guys really stepping up. Thurman, honestly, I don't even know if I really wanted. I thought the comment for him to ask, I only heard part of it, but last week to ask Spence something about being, would it prove that he's the second best welterweight? It's kind of petty in my opinion. If you're not gonna come back and get to work, really get to work, you just kind of, and I think Spence, looked at him real flippantly, like he could give him that Wilder tweet, what he called Tyson Fury, when he got real with him for a minute. He could have, if it was on Showtime, maybe he could have said something serious, how he really felt about Thurman's question. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be my one thing that I look forward to see what other welterweight guys make it into the crowd that night, and how big of a fan are you of boxing on this particular big time night? Because it is a huge moment. It is a huge main event, and the rest of the card, as I was talking about, or posting or tweeting or commenting about over on Junior the Truth Show that's on right now, was just the rest of this card to be in a venue like AT&T Stadium. I'm surprised. I mean, maybe Jerry Jones just doesn't know enough about boxing to really be concerned with the lower level fights on this card to really question what the hell did y'all give me besides Spence and Garcia. Ari Areola, Chris Martin, or Charles Martin, I'm sorry. I do want to see David Benavidez's return, although I don't think Jalen Love poses much of a threat, to be honest. So, yeah, I just want to see who's in the building. Do we see the Charlos again? They've been a little quiet. So, but they're down there in Texas, obviously. Does Crawford, who already has a fight, is he in the crowd? He's across the street, you know, business-wise or promotionally speaking. Does Porter even show up, or does he look at it like, hey, I'm on vacation after a tough fight in against you guys last week. Maybe he doesn't make it, and he's been away from his child. So he could skip this one and sit it out too and just sit at home and not show up either. So that's my thing. Who shows up? Mike, even though the undercards are trash, I think it would be a big turnout. What's up, Mike James Boxing? Yeah, I think the crowd is I think it's gonna be a great turnout because the main event is what it is. But I just think with the PBC kind of with Spence alongside Deontay Wilder being kind of their biggest assets at this moment, I just think you would have put a little bit more around Spence to make this event that much bigger. But with Benavidez in the house, with Garcia in the house, you know, maybe it's enough for, you know, the Latino community or, you know, Mexican fans to where it works. But that's all I really wanted. It was one other point, if I could think about it before I get on off of here and shut this down, would Spence be leaving the division? Could this signal him leaving the division? And I hope not, but I just think if it doesn't pick up, you know, like I said, he's in his prime. He wants to be a star. And if these guys don't want to get off the, you know, do something to get off the pot, I just think Spence could be forced to move on and go chase greatness and do what he has to do for himself. So that's kind of all I was really saying today was what other fighters show up to kind of look at future fights for Spence. I think it would be a good sign of solidarity for the welterweight division if the other champions were in the building. And basically that was my point. I did have one other thing, and I cannot think of what the hell it was. But anyway, that's my Spence-Garcia 2 days in a wake-up thought. Thanks for checking in with me real quick. And let me get on out of here and go to work.